Welcome to the Everyday Intuitive Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Alice Shea, intuitive life coach trainer, status quo shaker, and founder of Atmana Coaching Academy. Listen in each week to break up with your comfort zone, claim your self-confidence, and radically embrace your role as an intuitive healer, mentor, and sought-after coach. Let's get within and get after it. Today, I have on our show Annie P. Ruggles. For almost a decade, she has harnessed her Hulk-like disdain for hard sales, tacky self-promotion, and overly competitive, sleazy sales tactics as inspiration to help you find better ways to grow your small business. As the founder of the Non-Sleazy Sales Academy, she's guided hundreds of people toward making deeper connections, lasting impressions, and friendlier, more lucrative transactions and conversations for you, the empath and intuitive. She has a podcast aptly named Too Legit to Quit. When you meet Annie, you're going to see that definitely fits her personality, where she serves up actionables for small business strategies and pop culture references that are going to make your head spin each and every Monday. So I just actually hit finish recording with Annie on this episode, and I really enjoyed our conversation. I think you're going to love the fresh take that she has on tackling the big, dirty, hairy questions and really resistance and blocks that we have as highly sensitive individuals to honing and owning our sales process. So without further ado, I bring you Annie P. Ruggles and all of her wisdom on the intuitive sales process. Annie, I am so excited to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
The pleasure is all mine, Heather.
Okay, so I have so many reasons why I'm excited to have you on the show. But the first is because I believe that you, Miss Annie P. Ruggles, have the elixir, the antidote for every sales avoidant intuitive out there who has ever shied away from shining their light or stepping up and owning their inner saleswoman in their coaching practice. So I guess I want to start off with, tell us a little bit how you stepped into helping, and you specifically help empaths and intuitives own their voice in the sales process and just being unapologetic with it. So talk to us a little bit about how you got started doing that.
Nothing in my intuition or my logical brain ever thought that I would be teaching sales. Ever. That hit me like a truck. But what happened was I was in marketing and branding for very small businesses for a very long time, and I loved it. And because I'm an intuitive person and I hang out in intuitive circles, a lot of my clients tended to be coaches, healers, and other highly sensitive people, and all in service-based professions. And I freaking loved it. My old company was called the Idea Doula because I was helping birth business babies right and left. And it was a gorgeous honor until it wasn't anymore. And when it wasn't anymore was when I watched my clients struggle so desperately against all logic. They were brilliant, they were driven, they were generous, they were passionate, incredible, unique, focused, driven, all of the things. Why? Why were they not succeeding? And all around us, we were watching all these other coaches and healers with their businesses blow up. And then I had to look internally and go, whoa, my own business is also totally stagnant. What is up here? And I realized by watching people try to sell and watching myself try to sell that we were shoehorning good people into trying to make them sell like everybody else. And that's just not going to work. And so what happens is we either try on these strategies once or twice and hate them and therefore banish them from our business and repel against them, or more often we go, listen, I've put all of this energy and love into bonding with my clients and to serving them in this way. I don't want to violate that trust by selling. And so what do? We market, forever.
Yep.
And we never ask. And the thing is, know, like, trust, super true, but incomplete. People need to be asked. So I decided that I was going to rededicate my life and my career in this way to learning how to sell beautifully, 100% in keeping with my ethics, my integrity, my natural skills, and my personality. And once I figured out how to do that for myself, I started teaching my clients. And now 2 years later, here we are.
Yes, with one of the neatest brands I've ever seen in the intuitive space. Your academy is called, literally named, Non-Sleazy Sales Academy, which I just love that you're owning. It's kind of like you're owning the shadow side of this and making it light. So you're saying, no, we can absolutely do this in a way. I love you just said in our integrity, with our personality, and in a way that's aligned with us. And I just love that so much because I think a lot of intuitive coaches aren't even aware that that's a possibility.
They're not. I wasn't.
Yeah. I know that I
totally
wasn't either. I wasn't either. And I know a lot of the coaches, both who are interested in coming into Atmana and then who are already in, are saying this is, the hill that I might die on.
Yep.
Because I don't know. I don't know how to do the ask. I don't know how to feel my own sense of alignment while in that ask. So, okay, here's a question I've been dying to ask you. Why do you think intuitive people feel that sales is icky or sleazy or immoral? Like, what is going on there with that?
I think that we have all internalized how we have been sold to. And highly sensitive people are highly sensitive, right? When something knocks us down, we learn that lesson, but that lesson stays with us. And I think what I've seen over and over, one of the main things when I actually talk to people about why they hate, air quotes, selling as they understand it, one of the first things that they'll do is they'll bring up a time when their trust was abused. And when they were lied to, arm twisted, tricked, belittled, beat up, any of these things in order to sell, right? And because of that, that has become the definition, I guess, globally or societally for what selling is. Selling is that final gotcha. Ha ha! Selling is that exertion of greed, right? It's totally not, but it's very understandable why people who are so sensitive to energy, who are so sensitive to vibration, would look at those behaviors and go, no, that is the antithesis of me. That is disgusting. I am love and light and raising the vibe of the planet. I'm not about to arm twist. The best thing is, though, that if you actually look at what selling requires of you, none of that is required. But I think I see sales avoidance in all kinds of people. But when intuitive people come to me with this resistance, really one of the main concerns is lessening who they are as a person.
Sure.
Or normally both, violating the trust or violating the intention of the client.
I love that. Let's speak to, you say on your video on your website, you talk about the little M and the big M.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So one of the main questions that I always get is selling manipulative? And people expect me to say no. But I say yes. Selling is very much manipulative. But much like that word selling, we got to look at what a manipulation actually means. So, Heather, what is a movie, a TV show, or a book that you super love?
Oh my gosh, a movie, a TV show, or a book. My gosh, the book, The Alchemist.
Okay, The Alchemist. Perfect. So The Alchemist is a parable, obviously, written as a story, but meant to have all these lessons.
Yes.
Khalil Gibran is manipulating the daylights out of you as you read that book because he needs you to keep flipping the pages in order to get to the lesson. So when you feel the protagonist's frustration, when you feel that longing, you are being manipulated. If you watch a TV show and it makes you laugh, it's intending to make you laugh. You're being manipulated. To manipulate just means to bring about feeling or thought. That's it. But where capital M, evil, nasty manipulation, dark side manipulation comes in is when we start leading people away from where they want to go. When you read The Alchemist, you're reading that with consent.
Yes.
You are consenting to the journey. When I watch AP Bio and I laugh my butt off, it's because I am consenting to watching a sitcom and enjoying it, and I want it to make me laugh, and it does. I am not going against my will. I am not being led in any other direction. Selling is the exact same way. In order for you to sell, the prospect who needs to become the client must think and feel certain ways. But that doesn't mean that you need to get them to think or feel anything that they don't need to feel on their journey. That's it. That's totally it. Do you need to evoke emotion? Hell yes. Do you need to guide them through coaching? Selling is coaching, right? We got to guide them through the steps. That is manipulation. Sorry, folks. It is.
Our sales team / support coaches who also teach, support, instruct, and also sell, they say that all the time, that selling is coaching. It's literally a coaching session. But what I'm hearing you say is that there's manipulation. We're going to reclaim that word too. There's manipulation in the direction of one's higher good and higher self. And then there's manipulation in the direction, right? And so you're saying, hey, we're light workers who are manipulating for the highest good of the client, right?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Right?
I love that.
Isn't that manipulation a huge part of the light worker saga?
I also see it like selling, like I remember she's 17 now, but when she was little, oh my God, I had to convince her of all kinds of things to get her to like be a healthy, happy, well-adjusted kid. Take a bath, go to bed. If you do, mommy will, take you to the park tomorrow. I'm selling taking a bath. I'm selling going to bed on time.
100%. I'm so freaking grateful that you brought that up, because that's one of the things I say all the time. Teaching is selling. Parenting, to your point, is freaking selling. Coaching is selling. Healing is selling. It's all selling. You think that you're going to take a hardened skeptic and get them to put crystals in their bra without selling? You're not.
That's fantastic.
You're just
Which is like goals. We all want to have that moment when that happens.
Right? But the thing is, it's not going to happen without persuasion. It's not going to happen without you explaining why it's important and tying it to an outcome that they want. Same thing with parenting. I'm so sorry you have to eat your broccoli, but you got to get your folic acid up, so eat your damn broccoli.
Right. And your life will be better off if you do.
Absolutely.
Right. So you have, which I'm going to share a link to in a minute, you have a free masterclass where you walk people through the 5 unfortunate truths about sales. Would you share a few with us here today?
Abso-frickin-lutely. A couple of them we've already touched on, right? Which is this idea that selling is solving a problem for money. That's it. That's it. And another one is that nothing that has been that negative sales baggage, none of that behavior is required. None of it. Not even close to required. Flip it on its head. Go through the looking glass and do that instead. None of that is required. But another one that I think intuitive people will really, really glom onto, especially intuitive introverts, because I am an introvert, I'm just freaking loud. But one of the things is, one of the most hated aspects of sales is the sales spiel, right? You get them on the call, you sit down, they put on their seatbelt, and then you just word vomit at them, trying to get all of your talking points out there, blah, 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 right?
Right. Yes.
Your number one job, my beloved, intuitive, empathic sponges of light and love. Your number one job in a selling situation, if it's a networking thing, if it's a sales call, doesn't matter, is to shut your beautiful, glorious, gorgeous mouths and to listen.
Yep.
That's it. And that is for everybody. That's listening on one plane. Now we're talking about intuitives. Hush and let your intuition filter into the conversation. If you're blabbing the whole time, you can't hear your mind and you can't hear your guides. So the best thing in the world is, on those conversations, shh, be quiet. Let the client drive. They're not used to that. We don't expect that. We expect them to take us by the hand and drag us through the pitch. Nah! Relax into it. Be present. Again, remember, it's coaching. And if done beautifully, which all of us can do, selling to that person in and of itself can also be an act of healing.
I agree. In therapy, they call it the corrective emotional experience, where you expect this one thing to be icky, and then you have this experience where it isn't, and you're like, oh, that was actually amazing.
It's like
That,
going to an amazing dentist.
yeah,
Like, oh, I
right.
gotta go get my teeth cleaned. And then you go to a new dentist and they're
And
phenomenal.
they're really nice, and you're like, wow, I actually don't mind this anymore. As a matter of
Yep.
fact, I'm going to go every 6 months as required.
Yep. Shout out
Yeah.
Dr. Chan. I love you. But, that's that expectation shift like you were talking about, right? And there are so many moments in the selling process when you can delight and surprise them just by not doing what they expect you to do in terms of sales.
So let's touch on this, just popped in as you were speaking. Let's touch on this idea of I'm bad at sales. So let's pretend we're in a world where we move the beautiful intuitive coaches that we are, that we're speaking to today. Let's say we move them into just falling deeply in love with sales.
Mhm.
There's another hurdle I think we face, which is I'm okay. Sales might not be sleazy, but I'm bad at it. Can you speak to that?
I would say prove it. Prove to me you're bad at sales. And then
Ooh,
I'd say, how often
love
are you
this.
asking? Right? I mean, seriously. One of the main things that I say over and over and over and over and over with varying levels of swear words, but I'll give it a PG version today, is you are not allergic to sales. You are allergic to being sold to by buttheads.
Ooh, I love that.
Therefore, you're not bad at sales. You're bad at the bad kind of manipulation. Woo-hoo, great. Most people who think they're bad at sales are actually amazing at sales because they're completely client focused.
Right.
So if they come to me and they say I'm bad at sales, then I'll say prove it. Well, I'm not making any money. Okay, how often are you asking? Well, I don't ask that often. Why? I don't want to hurt the client. Okay, well, if you want to help the client, guess what? You're good at sales. Sorry, just true, right? I mean, the thing is, we think that we have to put on another personality. We think that we have to master these traits and all of these things. We frickin' don't. You should not change any part of yourself except maybe a little bit of courage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything else. And also, one of the main things that comes up in selling time and time and time and time again is imposter syndrome. And to imposter syndrome, I say, great, good for you. If you are terrified when you get on a phone that you're not going to be able to help the person on the other end, that means your heart's in the right place. Horrible people don't get imposter syndrome.
I agree. I say that all the time about imposter syndrome and self-doubt. It's at least you're being honest with yourself about how you feel, and it does show that your heart is in the right place. And I think it's the intuitive and the empath, and I'm sure you agree with me that we're the ones who should be boldly making our offer because we are the ones who are client-centered.
Yes.
It's the assholes who don't care whether or not they're hurting. They're just out there pitching all day, every day.
Yes.
They have no problem with it. So we've got to get over this for the sanctity of the service that we're trying to give the world. Yeah.
If we don't step up, and I believe that beautiful people can completely redefine selling in the coaching and healing industries. I believe that fully. It's going to take a lot of work, but I believe it. But on top of all of that, the one really stern, bitchy thing that I want to say right now is your last point was so freaking true. I'm going to double down on it. If you are not willing to sell in a beautiful way, you take all of those people that you want and you literally hand them to people that care less than you do.
Mm-hmm. Let that sink in. Let
Right?
that sink in.
I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade right now, but one of two things will happen, normally both. On the personal angle, you will not hurt your small business. You will slowly kill your small business, number one. And number two, all of those people that could have relied on you, that you want to rely on you, will go to the loudest, flashiest of your competitor.
Yeah.
And I bet you, my own dog, that they're going to not even blink. and they're going to charge 3 times more and deliver 100 times less. Don't damn them to that outcome. All it takes is you knowing how to ask and be willing to do it.
Yeah, I love how you are describing the quote unquote pitch as an ask. It's an ask, it's an invitation. Hey, would you like to do this thing? And it's up to the person. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? It's almost like if we're not asking, it's almost like saying we don't trust the client's own wisdom to know what's right for them. So it's almost like you're not even trusting your client enough to make their own yes or no. And how disempowering is that?
You're not trusting anybody other than your competitors at that point.
Ooh.
You're not. You're not trusting yourself. You're not trusting your guides. You're not trusting your advisors on this plane or any other plane. You're not trusting your client. You're not trusting the results of your past clients. The only thing you're trusting is that your competitor is better than you.
It's quite literally allowing yourself to listen to the lowest version of you. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the least evolved version of your consciousness. You're letting that drive the car. Like, oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Okay, so here's one exercise I want the listeners to do.
Can't wait.
Okay. But Annie, I want to ask you, fill in the blank. Sales is blank.
Serving.
Sales is serving.
My first thought was glorious.
Ooh,
but I think
glorious.
that might be a bit of a jump for the listener.
Glorious serving. It's glorious serving.
Yeah, it is. It is the most bold, passionate, final thing. Because the other thing is, it's only the last inch. When I was working with my clients before any of us were selling actively, it was basically all of us running a marathon and falling down at 26.1. The finish line is right there. You can frickin' see it. It may take as little as 3 sentences to get across that finish line. All of your energy, all of your trust, your faith, all of those things, don't sabotage it right at the end. Selling is glorious. Selling puts the icing on the cake of all the work you've done.
I love that. I love that. What a powerful visual that you've run an entire marathon to quit 0.1 before the finish line.
And I don't freaking run. So for me, that's even worse.
I do. I've never run that distance, but I've run 5 miles and that feels like, I'm wanting to die.
Like, I don't even want to run 1 mile. But guess what? I've run 1 mile in my business every day for the last however many years I've been doing this, a decade. I'm not going to take all of that experience and sabotage it at the last second. I'm not. It's not in my highest and best. It's not in my client's highest and best. And it's all caused by a misconception of what behavior is required of me and also my own willingness to receive, which is something that all of us need to work on.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I should have you back on for another episode where we talk about that, just the lack of worthiness we think we don't have. And that's why we don't want to sell, because we're afraid to receive, particularly financially.
Yep.
I think that's a whole other thing. So yeah, so maybe we'll have you back on for that one.
I'll be back anytime. Name the date. I'll be
awesome. Here. Okay. So in the meantime, I want you guys to complete your assignment. Sales is what? Annie has given you some beautiful nuggets on the way that you can rewire your heart brain and your brain to think about embracing selling as a glorious service that you can offer your people.
Selling is change made manifest. Selling is potential made manifest. Selling is the beginning of a beautiful relationship. I could do this all day, y'all. If you're having trouble selling ads, just send me a message and we could do this for years.
That's amazing. Okay, so speaking of that, Annie wait until you see her brand. First of all, it's brand goals all the way down. I love it. Her Instagram is like what Instagram should be. Her website is like what a website should be.
Do not make me cry on your podcast
cool.
right now.
Like we went and we were like, I can't, she's amazing. Like me and my team as we were going over it. So it is just an absolute pleasure to say, please follow Annie on Instagram. You can find her at Anniepreneur.
Yep.
And then she also has a podcast, which I absolutely love the reference to MC Hammer. Too Legit to Quit. Her podcast is Too Legit to Quit. And her website is Annie P. Ruggles. Ruggles spelled Ruggles, like Snuggles.
Like
Except
Snuggles.
except for with an R. So please check her out. And on her website, you will be able to have access to her masterclass, Making Selling Easy Without Getting Sleazy. How adorable, it even rhymes, where she's going to walk you through all 5 of the unfortunate truths of sales, and then really just help you get 5 easy ways to overcome those so that you can unleash your glorious saleswoman inside of you or salesperson inside of you so that the world can have your gift, because the world is your gift. And if you don't master this, you're not going to be able to give the
world is incomplete without your gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
I totally agree.
Please fix that, y'all. Like, please. Mm-hmm. You've done this much. You've strove, whatever the right word is, in your own life this far, in your own journey this far. You've dedicated yourself to healing and opening not only yourself, but the planet. Please, please do not hide your gift at this crucial final moment.
Mic drop. We'll see you guys back here next time. That is a wrap for today's show. Thank you from the bottom of my feels for showing up today in your power and in your willingness to let your intuitive self lead. And if you are still working your way to your first 50 to 100K in your coaching practice, I have 2 incredible free resources to help you fast pass this process. The first is to join our free and fun Facebook group, the Atmana Intuitive Coach Collective, where myself and our Atmana instructors do free trainings every week to help you turn your obstacles into opportunities with each and every step you take, so that you can begin to achieve success on your own terms and finally make the money that you know you deserve. So if you're interested in joining our group, just pop onto Facebook and you can search bar Atmana Intuitive Coach Collective and we will pop up, or you can check our show notes for a link. And the second resource is a VIP ticket to our next upcoming 5-day workshop experience, Live Your Purpose, Launch Your Practice, where you are going to learn 4 keys to claiming your intuitive confidence, calling in clients with authenticity and integrity, and then you're going to create your very first or one of many signature programs that help you sell your services with ease and grace, that also helps you go high ticket. So head on over to heatheraliceshay.com/intuitive coach launch to get your VIP ticket, or you can check the show notes where you can get your hot little hands on a link to both the Facebook group and the 5-day workshop. Until next time, I see you, I love you, together we rise.